Hey music lovers, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's both heartwarming and a bit of a fantasy for many. Singers who married their fans. Yeah, you heard that right. The rock stars, pop idols, and country music kings and queens that actually ended up marrying someone who started off as one of their biggest supporters. It's a fairy tale in real life and proves that sometimes the boundaries between artist and fan can get a little blurry in the best way possible. So without further ado, let's get into 10 singers who ended up marrying their fans. And who knows, maybe there's hope for you out there to get swept off your feet by your favorite artist one day. Number 1. John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. Alright, let's kick this list off with one of the most iconic couples in music and entertainment right now, John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. While they're more known as a power couple than as fan-artist couple, it all started with Chrissy being a fan of John's music. Chrissy was a model at the time, and she first met John while on the set of his Stereo music video. She was actually cast as his love interest, which, talk about life imitating art, right? They quickly became friends, and the rest is history. Over the years, they've gotten married and have a beautiful family together, showing that sometimes meeting your idol really can lead to a happily ever after. Number 2. Gwen Stefani and Gavin Rossdale. Let's talk about the world of rock. Gwen Stefani, the lead singer of No Doubt, and Gavin Rossdale, the frontman of Bush, made headlines when they got together. The two first met in the early 90s when Gavin was still a member of Bush, and Gwen was a fan of their music. Gwen was totally into his band's vibe, and eventually their professional relationship turned into something much deeper. Their chemistry was undeniable, and they got married in 2002. Although they eventually separated in 2016, their journey from fan to partner remains one of the most talked about in the music world. Number 3. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. Next, we have Keith Urban, the country music superstar, and the Oscar-winning actress Nicole Kidman. Believe it or not, Nicole was a huge fan of Keith's music long before they ever met. In fact, she was so into him that she actually approached him at an event in 2005, telling him she was a fan. Fast forward to 2006, they started dating, and by 2006, they were married in a beautiful ceremony. This couple proves that sometimes it's not just about being a fan of someone's art, but about the magic that can happen when the two worlds collide. Number 4. Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez. Now, let's shift gears a little to a more modern example, Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez. Dalton wasn't a fan in the traditional sense of being a super fan of Ariana's music, but he was a fan of her as a person. The two met in 2020, and Dalton was actually working as a luxury real estate agent. He was introduced to Ariana through mutual friends, and while he wasn't a celebrity himself, he was, in a way, part of the star-studded scene. They started dating, and in 2021, they tied the knot in a small and private ceremony. So while Dalton wasn't exactly a super fan in the sense of going to Ariana's concerts or buying her merch, it's a great example of how even celebrities can fall in love with someone who admires them from afar. Number 5. Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn. Although Joe Alwyn wasn't exactly a fan of Taylor Swift's music when they first met, their relationship began after they met at the 2016 Met Gala. Taylor had been a fan of Joe's acting, and it seems that was all it took for their connection to spark. After being introduced by mutual friends, they hit it off, and the romance has been pretty private ever since. Despite Taylor's high-profile relationships in the past, Joe is one of the few who managed to stay out of the tabloids for most of their relationship. In fact, Taylor wrote some of her most beautiful, introspective songs about him. So, in a way, Joe did end up in a fan situation. Just, it was the other way around. Number 6. Carrie Underwood and Mike Fisher. Now, if you're a country music fan, you're probably familiar with Carrie Underwood and her husband, Mike Fisher. Mike, who was a professional hockey player for the Nashville Predators, was already a huge fan of Carrie's music. He even admitted in interviews that he had been listening to her music long before they met. They first crossed paths in 2008 when Mike attended one of Carrie's concerts. Fast forward to 2010, and they were married in a fairy tale ceremony. Carrie and Mike are one of the most down-to-earth and adorable couples in country music, and their story definitely adds a sweet twist to the fan-to-lover narrative. Number 7. Billy Joel and Alexis Roderick. Another fan-turned-wife situation comes from legendary singer Billy Joel and his wife Alexis Roderick. Alexis, who was a fan of Billy's music, first met him at a restaurant in 2009. She didn't actually know who Billy was at first, but once she found out, she started to see him in a completely different light. After getting to know each other better, they began dating and eventually married in 2015. Their love story is another proof that sometimes fans and idols can form meaningful relationships, even when the starting point is purely admiration for someone's art. Number 8. Paul McCartney and Nancy Shevell. Paul McCartney, one of the original Beatles, is no stranger to the concept of fans being enamored with him. But his relationship with Nancy Shevell was something quite different. Nancy was not only a fan of Paul's music, but she also worked in the transportation industry and had some degree of fame herself as a successful businesswoman. The two met through mutual friends in 2007, and after a whirlwind romance, they married in 2011. Their relationship is a reminder that not all fan relationships are one-sided, and that love can bloom between people from different worlds. Number 9. Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon. Let's talk about Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon. Nick was definitely a fan before they became husband and wife. As a huge fan of Mariah's music, Nick couldn't believe it when he was first introduced to her. He was so in awe of her that it made their relationship seem like something straight out of a dream. They started dating in 2008, and by April 2008, they were married in a secret ceremony. Their marriage may have been brief, but it was still one of the most unexpected fan-turned relationships in music history. Number 10. Shania Twain and Frédéric Thiébaud. One of the most surprising stories of love and fandom comes from country music sensation Shania Twain and her second husband, Frédéric Thiébaud. Frédéric, who worked as a business executive, was actually a fan of Shania's music and had always admired her work. However, his real claim to fame came when he was married to Shania's best friend, who later had an affair with Shania's first husband. After the fallout from that dramatic situation, Shania and Frédéric grew closer, and their friendship eventually blossomed into romance. They married in 2011, and their journey is one of both personal healing and redemption. Who knew that being a fan could lead to something as special as a happily ever after with your favorite artist? Let us know in the comments which of these couples you think has the sweetest love story, or if there's another singer you'd love to see marry their biggest fan. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe FactPros, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. See you next time.